So we are going to work on another question on constitution of trust. Here you have Mr. A arranged to meet his lawyer B. So at the meeting, A told B he was going to transfer his shares in A Company Limited to B and wanted B to hold it on trust for C until he reaches the age of 18, at which point it becomes his, and then ask B to sort out the relevant paperwork. The next day, A texted C telling him, I'm gonna give you the shares in A Company Limited and my lawyer will hold it in trust for you. So subsequently, A went to B's office and signed the share transfer form, transferring A shares in the company to B, and B arranged his trainee to comply with the relevant formality requirements. Unfortunately, the trainee forgot to do so. A then died shortly after that. A's will, which was fairly executed, appointed D and E as his executors and left everything to his sister F. So obviously we are gonna advise D and E as to who is entitled to the shares, whether it's F or C who are entitled to the shares. Right, so obviously we need to look at the legal aspects, legal in the sense of common law, right? So A now is the legal owner of the shares, technically speaking, because you recall in the previous question, in the previous tutorial video discussing the question on declaration of trust, I provided you with the process of share transfer in Hong Kong. Here, A only signed the share transfer form, which you can consider that as the IOT, but didn't really do anything subsequently, didn't have it stamped in the stamp office, and so on and so forth. So that's why A remained as the legal owner of the shares. Right, so now he's tempted to transfer it to his lawyer on trust for C. So that basically requires both a legal transfer of the title, being constitution, and a valid declaration of trust. So obviously that has to satisfy both the formality requirements and the three certainties. Right. So in the introduction paragraph, we are going to set out the most important bits of the basic information. Alright, so this is the introduction paragraph. And next bit, obviously, we're gonna deal with quickly the three certainties. So for certainty of intention, it is clearly a trust intended, because there is explicit mention of the word trust. And for certainty of subject matter, we are certain they are the shares in A Company Limited held by A. And for certainty of object, C is the only beneficiary. Alright, so that there is no issue in the three certainties in the present case. Alright, for the subject matter, it is clear as well. Okay, and then now we can say the key issue is actually on constitution of trust. And then we can briefly discuss the legal requirements for the legal title in the shares to be transferred in Hong Kong, as we discussed in the previous tutorial video covering the previous problem question. Alright, and then in the current case, as we just discussed, A has only executed a share transfer form, and there is no registration of title in the share register by the company. Obviously, there is no stamping by the stamp office as well. So the transfer was not constituted, the transfer was not effected, and the trust was not constituted. Right, so that is the prima facie position we have. Alright. And then we need to discuss the exception in re-rolls, right? So before that, we talk about Miro and Lord. So Miro and Lord provide the proposition that equity will not assist volunteer, right? Will not perfect an imperfect gift, which means that equity will not compel the transfer of legal title to B being just a volunteer, and will not treat the failed transfer as a declaration of trust as well. Right? So we will lay down the position here. All right, and then we will discuss the authorities